in the meantime, Israelis prepare to head to the polls next week as Benjamin Netanyahu tries to retain his prime ministership. Dr Michael Doran is a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute and former senior director for the Bush administration, specialising in the international politics of the Middle East, and joins me in the studio now. Mike, thanks so much for coming into the World Studio tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Now, as we've heard in those reports, we've seen tensions escalate on the Gaza border, and there are fears that the violence could actually rise to levels that we saw exactly a year ago. What is the likelihood of that happening?
Well, I think the expectation was that if it was going to happen, it was going to be this weekend. So I don't think we're out of the woods yet, but it looks like Hamas has really kept a lid on the demonstrations.
What's your assessment of the progress on the ceasefire which Egyptian officials are mediating?
Well, what Hamas is trying to do is use the elections as leverage over the Israelis, because they know that the Israelis won't take massive action during the election. They want to keep calm. So Hamas is trying to escalate as far as it can without provoking a violent Israeli response, and then mediate through the Egyptians in the meantime to try to get concessions from the Israelis.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump backing Israel's claims over the Golan Heights. Several leaders, the Arab leaders, met over the weekend and they rejected this call by the president. But you agree with what the Trump administration have done? Oh,
I think it's long overdue. It's a recognition of reality. Everybody, including the Arab leaders who expressed opposition to the move, know that the Israelis are never going to get back the Golan Heights.
But you don't agree with Arab leaders that it could actually fan the tensions in the region?
No, it's not going to fan tensions. The Israeli control of the Golan Heights is a stabilizing influence. It's when the Syrians controlled it, it destabilized the region. When the Israelis control it, it stabilizes.
And what do you make of Donald Trump's timing of his announcing this? We're a week away from Israeli elections.
Oh, I think it had much more to do with domestic American politics than it had to do with the Israeli election. The Israeli election played into it a little bit, but that angle has been totally overblown. It's actually a consensus position in Israel that Israel should control the Golan Heights. The opposition to Netanyahu welcomed the move by Trump just as much as Netanyahu did.
Well, there are several fraud allegations hanging over Netanyahu. How do you think this will affect his chances in the upcoming elections?
I think the Israeli public has already, they know Netanyahu well. They've been familiar with him for years. Everybody has made their decision about how they feel about Netanyahu. I don't think any of these allegations are going to shift opinions one way or another.
So how do you think the elections will play out?
It looks like Netanyahu is going to come out the winner, not in terms of overall votes, but he controls the right-wing bloc, or he's the leader of the right-wing bloc, and the right-wing bloc is going to get more votes than the left-wing bloc.
Okay, and if we do see a surprise election result, how do you think this will be received by the US? And what do you say about US-Israel relations going forward?
They'll be fine either way. I mean, the opposition to Netanyahu, the new blue-white party, in terms of security policy, they really have no different policies from Netanyahu. They represent an alternative to the man, but not to his outlook.
Now, I'm just going to ask you finally, with this report that we've seen with IS fighters, their families wanting to return home to Australia. Do you have any opinion on how such cases should be treated?
That's a real tough nut to crack. I honestly don't have any great insight into what to do about that. It's a problem that every country is going to have to solve on their own.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mike, for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.